which is creating your story brand. It's a project that he and I have been working on. And it is very, very important in your marketing message, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's an app, a website, your business in general, it's all part of creating a story brand. And recently we have adopted this book. It is by Don Miller. It is called Building a Story Brand. Okay. And I'm going to suggest that you get the book. It is in audio as well. If you don't want to actually get the book and you want to just kind of do some YouTube on Don Miller, you can, but ultimately I think you're going to want the book. This is unlike any other tool that I've ever seen, in that it gives you step by step what to do to create a story brand, which will ultimately guide your entire message, your whole messaging about what you do as a business. It's very, very different. Desmond has been digging into the book, and I think he had some eye-opening when he read it for the first time through. And he's got some extra tools and stuff. And that's what I wanted to show you today as we kind of talk through what this all means. Right, let me share my screen here. He has a free tool that he can get you, and it's, once you get the book, you'll see you can sign up for a free account at mystorybrand.com. And this is what he walks you through, right? We're in the process of starting to put this together. And you think of your story brand kind of like a movie. You have a character, there's a problem, there's a guide, the problem is villain, there's villains, there's all of these things, right? So when we're looking at this, and we're going to go through just a little bit of how to dig this out of you. And it's really best if you work with somebody to help you create this. And when you read the book, it'll make a lot more sense. But let's think about it. When you're looking at your own business, right off the top of the head, you know, who's your hero? Who's your hero in your business? Other than my two interns who can't answer this because they already know. Ladies, what do you think? You cannot answer this, Jen.
I'm being quiet.
Any idea? Go ahead, Miranda.
I would say probably, are you a lot more than one hero? I would say sure. The chamber staff and our investors, which is basically our whole business.
Right? You would think that's your hero.
Yeah.
It's not, it's your customer.
Okay.
Your customer is the hero of this story.
I was going to say that.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
By the way, my name's Emily, not Harrison.
Yeah, just so y'all know. If you call her Harrison, she will not answer. No. She's just sitting at Harrison's computer and using his Zoom, who happens to own Jerry's Automotive. So just so you know the connection, right? It's the hero is actually your client, right? Think of Star Wars, and I'll use the same sample that's in the book. Think of Star Wars. The hero is Luke, right? And then the hero has a problem, which is the villain. So got to kind of think about who your villain is. And this is something that at Unleashed, we've been really kind of going through what the villain is. And the way we kind of discerned who the villain is by looking at the clients that we've already served, right? And the clients have what the problem is. And there's a couple of different types of problems. There's your external, your internal, and your philosophical. And I'm not going to go through each one of these steps in detail. I'm more giving you an overview so that you know what to expect when you read the book. And that way you don't have to read it 4 times before you go, oh, I get it now, right? But like with with us, the villain are the other developers who don't know what they're doing. That's kind of one of the villains. So you can have more than one villain. You can have a main villain, then you can have some sub-villains. And most of the time, my clients have problems where it's based on being able to have better production. They're kind of spinning their wheels. They're stagnant in what they do. So they're maybe not as efficient, or they want to scale their business, or they want to do things that will help them grow their business one way or another, have an extra resource for their clients and tools. So those are kind of my clients' problems, which is like the villain. So think about it. In Star Wars, the villain is Darth Vader, right? But there's a lot of sub-villains too, correct? So when you're trying to discern this in your messaging, that's who you're going to be speaking to. And then where do you think you fit in on this as the business? Any idea?
Are we the guide?
You're the guide. You are the Obi-Wan or the Yoda. The Chamber, they have their own Yoda. It's called Judy Murphy. Right? She is such a Yoda. She is clearly a Yoda because she is the wise one. And those three pieces are usually what's different. And so when you're promoting your app, you want to speak so the character can have, you can have empathy with the character. So the character can relate to the fact that you are a wise one. You've got the knowledge. They have a problem. So like in the case of Jerry's Automotive, what's the problem? Their car doesn't work. The villain is their car, repairs to their car, maintenance to their car. You know, that's, and whenever something goes bad, even as simple as an oil change, it takes people off their track. And they want to make this process as smooth and as easy as possible. So they may have the external problem that the car has to be fixed. The internal problem is they're struggling with, is it first and foremost, when it comes to an auto mechanic, can you trust them? Because they have good and bad reps out there. You know, everybody gets, yeah, it can be very, very traumatic. So the internal is struggling to accept what has to be done. And the philosophical is, you know, who do I trust? So that's when the guide comes in. And the guide needs to be the trusted source. So when you're creating your entire mobile app strategy for not just launching, but keeping it going, keeping it fresh, keeping it involved, you want to take a look at this particular plan and to create this plan. You know, the same thing with the Chamber. What's the villain for the Chamber is getting businesses another tool to have the community be interactive with them. That's the whole mission of the Chamber. You know, yes, it's great to have the networking and the working together and everything, but really the mission of the Chamber is to help the businesses grow and be community involved and get the community involved with the businesses as a trusted guide. And the Chamber offers so many tools to teach businesses how to do that. You know, they're constantly having different things. So with all of that, you want to be able to look at it and say, who's the character, who's the villain, and then have them meet the guide. And then you have to have the plan. What plan are you giving them? Or even the 1, 2, 3 to do business with us. Like we're working on our app Easy Beasy right now. And we know who the character is the client. We know we're the guide. We know their problem is chaos in their day. They have too many things coming at them at once. They've got scheduling changes, people not showing up to work. You know, all of a sudden things have to be done on the fly. A lot of times the owner themselves is one of the workers. So how do they tame their chaos? And we developed a 3-step plan to get them to take the action that we want them to take. First, schedule a demo with us. Second, buy Easy Beasy. Third, tame the chaos. Put it to work. And then throughout this template, by the way, he's got these cute little videos to kind of help you along and how to put this together. And if you use this to guide all of your marketing, your world will change. Because then you want to define all of this as you go through. I don't think any of our boards are filled up here yet. So that's a direct statement to the two that I've told had to stay quiet, but you guys can talk now if you want. We need to fill out these templates here, guys. No, we just started using the templates recently. I just recently found this and said, "Ooh, this is cool. Let's send this off." So
I just want to say, if you haven't read the book yet and you feel like you may not have time to like sit down and read the book, just get the audiobook, pop your earbuds in, like relax while you're listening to him. He's got a really super soothing voice, or clean the house, whatever you got to do, but it's definitely worth it.
Yep. And I've gone back and I've listened to different sections based on what I'm looking for.
Okay.
You know, right now we're designing the website. Actually, for both businesses, we're designing the websites. And I've gone back and listened to the website piece. Also, if you go on YouTube, he actually pulls people's websites up and goes through what they're looking at.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got some really good ones. So when you're doing that, but that's what you want to do with your app when you're promoting it, and your app, the content and the way it's laid out has to be this way. So if you look at like Jerry's Automotive, it's customer surrounded. It's not all about Jerry's. You know, yeah, there's a section of it about me and, you know, some of the services and stuff. But the very, very first thing is about a client. And what's their biggest problem? Scheduling an appointment. And that's right there in the very front, right? Same thing with the Brookfield Chamber. What's the biggest thing? The hot deals for the community. Very top thing. Not about your app is not about the chamber. It's about the community. And that's a really important feature that a lot of people don't get. And I've seen a lot of chamber apps that are all strictly for the members. Sign up for this breakfast and, you know, here's the directory and all that. What good does that do the members, you know, other than to be able to sign up and to go from there? So I would really recommend this. And then when you're going through it, work this and work it together. You know, have a group. And I have no problem at one of the meetings if you want to bring in what you've got and to go through it and to see what other people feel. Because sometimes that's the best way to see. I guarantee you, Emily didn't see half of the stuff until she and I started talking. Same thing with the chamber until we started talking, right? And the same with some of the others that are listening right now. So Desmond and Jen, what do you want to add to this? I've been babbling here for a little bit, but what do you guys want to add to this? Here, I'm actually going to stop sharing. It'll be just a little easier.
Which one of us do you want to talk first?
Desmond, let's hear out of you.
What do you want me? What do you want me to speak on first? Because it's a lot.
Start at the beginning.
Okay, so definitely we want to have a specific hero or some type of specific problem that we want to help the hero solve. So we want to make sure that our hero is able to learn or is eager to learn something. Maybe they have a drive to learn about computers or something like that. So we want to make sure that we as a guide, since we metaphorically will already have knowledge on how to even make your computer or how to guide the hero in making their website or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So for us, we want to make sure that our hero has the qualifications to be the hero. And we want to make sure that we're looking for a person that's going to be qualified so that we can effectively help them to fulfill their purpose. Mm-hmm. So and that's just the hero portion. So we want to make sure that we meet their needs and they meet our requirements, our standards as well. So it'd be not a waste of time for both parties.
Yep. What was one of the first things you said about my website when you first looked at it?
I didn't know what to do. I saw 4 different call to actions, and I thought it was like 4 different programs when I saw it.
Mm-hmm. It was confusing. So your app has to be the same way. What's the real call to action that you want people to take? So continue on, Desmond.
I think as a villain, we want to make sure that we're specific about what we're we need to make sure that we're specific about what we're solving, or how can we solve the villain. And there's some villains that we can't really take on right away. We have to level up our game and we have to train for that. But there's some villains that we can take on right now. So for instance, if a person has anxiety, you can't just take away anxiety, right? That's something that you have to build up to conquer your anxiety. So for our villain, we have to make sure that we're attacking something specifically. Like there's probably one thing, okay, what can I do to make myself feel better in the morning? Well, first, let me brush my teeth. Let me tell you, okay, well, first, let's make my bed. Okay. After we've done that, we're slowly building ourselves to have a good day. So it's kind of like focusing on the small things so that we can take on the villain at the end of the story, or at the climax of the story.
Yep.
As the guide, we know we are the guide. We're supposed to help them. Either we have experience exactly what they went through or not, but we do have experience with what they have. So we feel like we have to answer to their problems. So of course we know we're the guide part. But as far as that's as far as I've gotten inside the book. So
yep.
Other than that, that's pretty much all I've kind of understood from it.
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody got questions so far? What are your thoughts? What do you think of this whole idea and this concept?
I like it. I like starting small to reach big and focusing on smaller topics.
Mm-hmm. Anna, how about you?
Not gonna lie, this is definitely gonna help outside of the app. So I really like this too.
Yeah. Exactly. It helps on several levels, and it's not just about the app, but there's a lot of things, because at the end of the day, the app is not necessarily your business, but it is your brand. And it's part of your business and part of your marketing and part of getting your message and getting your people engaged. Websites that just kind of talk to you and lecture you aren't it. The worst website is the one that starts off with the About Me page and how great thou art. No, I want you to talk to my problem. People take action based on emotion. They take it based on emotion. I don't know, Emily, you guys ever get emotional people in your facility?
Oh yeah, but we have the dogs to help tame that emotion down.
That's right. You've got some beautiful dogs too.
Thanks.
Love dogs.
Kind of to go on what you were saying too. So on Saturday we had an all-day class here, and I was watching the service writing class, and the guy presenting literally talked about himself the whole time.
Wow. Instead
of really kind of showing you and helping you change the way that you do things, it was more of look at me, look at me, look at me. So yeah, when you go on a website and the first thing you read is about how amazing and great they are, you lose your interest because you just think that they're all cocky and conceited.
Yep.
You're not going to want to deal with them.
Right. Exactly. And there's a difference between how great thou art and relating to the person and understanding their chaos and understanding their problem. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, Jen, you back at home now?
Yeah, sorry. When my phone connected to my home Wi-Fi, it just froze everything.
Exactly.
The thing that I was really impressed by in general, and this is not necessarily about the process, but I am usually, which it's funny that I'm even in the industry of marketing and advertising, because I'm so turned off by certain aspects of sales and things like that, and the certain way that some companies go about advertising and marketing. So when Nancy wanted me to read the book, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna hate it. It's gonna be another, like, you know what I mean? Like sales pitch, and like, it's all about how awesome I am and things like that. And nothing against you. That's what I've consistently seen across the board for the most part. And so I did just that. I popped in earbuds. I turned it on. I just kind of like cleaned the house a bit, laid down, kind of just relaxed while I was listening to him. And even like 5 minutes in, I was captivated and impressed. And he goes about the way of marketing in such a different way, because he is making it about the customer or the client, and that they are the hero, and that they're the ones that are important, and they're the ones that are amazing and awesome. And it's not about the company, you know what I mean? And so so then I was like, okay, I want to hear what this guy has to say. And everything he says just makes so much sense, just about how, some websites really lack the fluidity of just clicking onto the homepage and then getting to the shopping cart or the call to action or whatever it is what the end result is that they want. And how he just really lays out about, you have to lay down these stepping stones for the hero, the client, to successfully get to the end result that you want them to get to. And so many companies lack that and miss out on that. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a website, and if it's not, my ADHD does not handle that stuff. If it's not easily explained to me right from the get-go, I'm just going to click off the screen. I mean, unless it's something that I just have to have, I'm not going to invest that much time in trying to figure it out for them. So I really encourage you guys to read it, because it's done in such a different way. It takes such a different approach that's how this is just blanket how it should be done across the board. Unfortunately, it's not. So the more of us that can get on board with this concept, it's going to make things so much easier. And then, companies are going to kind of be more forced to jump on board with this as well. When they see that more companies are doing it this way, they're not going to have a choice. So revolution. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, when this book was first sent to me, and I got this from somebody who actually knows Don Miller, and he sent it to me, and they said it was a gift for whatever reason. I'm like, the story brand. Okay, what's my story? What's my story? What's my story? And it's like, wait a minute. And then I finally picked up the book and I listened to it. I was like, oh, because I'm sure what I started with today, all of you were thinking the same thing. What's the story of the chamber? Well, there were a bunch of guys that got together back 50 years ago, no longer than that, I think. And, blah, 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 blah. And they started and et cetera. Same thing with Jerry's back, guy's car broke, so we fixed it. That's not the story. That's the empathy. We understand where you've been. And we're working on this with a couple of our sites, and that's where you use that to promote the app. What problem is your app solving? What's the villain? And your app is the answer. Your app is the one that's going to be able to take care of that for them. So it's really, really cool. But don't do the board until you get the book. The board will not make sense until you've done the book.
This is very true.
Yep. But I wanted to give you the teaser today, and I wanted to explain a little bit, because if I would have just said, get this book and read it, you would have all thought that I'm just crazy.